Hey, what's going on, everybody? Alicia and I are here. You might have seen today that Derrick Jaxn, the relationship expert, finally responded to a lot of the chaos regarding his situation that has been talked about quite a bit. A lot of people are, discussing this thing where this relationship guru Derrick Jaxn was allegedly, I guess, I don't know if the word
It's not
allegedly,
alleged.
it ain't
Sorry to
alleged no
bust
more.
in on you, but oh no, you must not have
So
seen
the
the
word
video.
alleged, I'm being too nice by using the word alleged.
It is confirmed
Okay, let's
out of the
confirm.
horse's mouth.
The horse, which one's the horse? Him or
Derrick is the horse.
Derek's the horse? Oh, or the horse's ass? Is that what y'all think he is? Oh, I'm not gonna. Yeah, I'm gonna just. Here's what I'm gonna say. Um, I saw Tasha K's video. I knew about Derrick Jaxn. I did not see the video he did with his wife.
Okay, so Boyce,
Hmm.
all I have to say is that I owe you a big apology
Really? For what?
because you were 100% right about him.
You mean men actually understand things, and we don't need women to tell
You
us
just,
how to use our brains?
I was
Like my
thinking,
PhD, my my PhD doesn't mean anything. In terms of my ability to think independently, huh?
I just, because you had been, before this all happened, you had been saying, oh, he's doing these videos, he's getting women, he's a player. Like, you had been saying this for a
Well,
long
here's
time.
the thing though. I wasn't saying it necessarily in a derogatory way, because again, when I'm talking about somebody that's younger than me, I try to be at least somewhat careful. Like it's like, okay, you can slap them upside the head, but you can also do it in a way that's giving advice and helping them to grow. But like with Derrick, I think that where I saw him falling into the trap 2 years ago, I noticed this.
Yeah, 2 years ago, you meant everything you said. You said, I don't know if he has a wife, I don't know if he's dating somebody, but I bet you he is with multiple women. That's what you said.
Yeah, well, the problem is that I don't even know
And I
how.
looked at you side eyed, like, oh,
Well,
not all men are like that. Come on. He's talking about, I was really believing everything that Derrick Jaxn was saying. I was thinking that he was drinking his own Kool-Aid. I was thinking that he was taking his own advice. I was sold.
Well, I think where Derrick might have came up messed up a little bit was by selling himself as this Chippendale Boy Scout.
I fell for it.
Like when you do a video online and your shirt is off, and like 100,000 women are gonna be watching the video, like that sex sells, right? You know what you're selling, right? And what you're saying is, look at this sexy body. I want you to start fantasizing, and let me just tell you a story. I knew this real chubby dude. He was a friend of my brother's. He was in his frat, and this chubby dude had all the girls, all these girls. I mean, he was just juggling them. I mean, like he couldn't beat them off with a stick.
He didn't look like a
And
Chippendale.
and all his friends were like, "How's this big fat dude getting all the women?" And they asked him, you know what he said?
What? Okay.
He said it's easy. He said just sell a hoe a dream. Those are literally his words.
Whoa.
He
So
says,
it's like, here's what we gonna do.
yeah, he said sell a hoe a dream. He said if you sell a dream, then women will buy it because they've been raised on a fairy tale, and they want to believe that behind the curtain there's some man who will fulfill their fairy tale. That you're gonna get somebody who looks like The Rock, who acts like the chubby dude who drives a minivan with the baby seat in the back. Those are rarely the same guy, and I see it very clearly. But whatever Kool-Aid they drink, they feeding a lot of young women. I don't know if it's not from maybe not having enough male influence, enough men around to kind of help you break down the game. But yeah, it's like being a dope dealer.
Yeah, I mean, I now have a different level of respect for you now, boys, because you
Well,
really
shit, you
called
should
it
have
out.
respected me in the first place.
I do respect you, I do. But I was like, oh, boy's just hating. Boy's hating on Derrick Jaxn and
I,
his shirt off.
I don't. I'm not going. I think what it is. It
But
maybe
you were not hating. You were really seeing through You were seeing through it. I fell for it.
Well, the thing is, maybe I would have been hating on him if we were the same age,
Okay.
but we're not the same age. So what happens is, and here's the thing. Here's something that I'm gonna say in Derrick's defense. I don't know if people gonna get mad at me about it or not, but it's very hard at 31 years old to resist all the temptation that's being thrown at him. When you have money and fame and power, and you have this great body that he has, and all these women are literally, what's happening is these people are trying to fill gaps in your relationship. Relationships are not always fun. Sometimes they're boring. Sometimes you're not interested. The person that you're with pisses you off. And imagine if every single time your woman pissed you off, there was another woman right there saying, well, I can make you feel better. NBA
Mm-hmm.
players, that's why NBA players and NFL players cheat like crazy. Any woman who ever marries an NBA player who thinks my husband's going to be faithful to me, I think she's just lying to herself. I don't think that happens. But people get mad when you say it because I think, I don't know. I don't get it. I just don't understand the wiring there. Like, I remember I talked to a young girl I used to mentor, and she was real attracted to Lil Wayne. And I said, what kind of husband or boyfriend do you think Lil Wayne would be? Do you think he'd be faithful to you? And I said, because he raps about all the women he's sleeping with.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, maybe if he's in love with me, he'll be faithful to me. And that really spoke to me about the delusionment that some people have. I said, and then I just said to her, I said, Lil Wayne got 3 women pregnant in the same year. Like, you really think it's so it I think with Derrick, I don't think Derrick's in that category. I feel like, he's not a super guy. His advice is okay, but I think that I think, unfortunately, as a young guy, I feel like he put himself in a weird box where
Mm-hmm.
people are just waiting for you to slip. They waiting to get you.
I don't think that was the case. I mean, did you watch the video? Okay, first of all, did you watch the video with him and his wife?
I didn't see that. You saw it, so you got to tell me
Okay,
about
so
it.
I didn't see the first video, but I saw the second one.
Mm.
And like immediately, like I was just surprised because I
Surprised
was
by what?
like, just like she didn't really have the appearance of someone who I was just like, oh, that's Derrick's wife.
Yeah, she.
I was a
What she
little,
came? Did she? What was it on her head? Was that like a hairnet,
I don't know what that
or what do they
was.
call those things? Bonnets.
I don't know what it was, but I was just shocked. I was like, oh, because I have seen women on his page. I mean, not to say that he was with those women, but I have seen women on his page, and that she just doesn't resemble anybody that I've ever seen him with. So that tells me like that's not the kind of women that I see him do videos with. The
Mm.
women he does videos with doesn't match the women, his wife. So it was just strange.
Um.
It was just
Mhm.
strange to me. And she looked, I mean, actually looking at her, she looked like if she did herself up, she'd be absolutely stunning. You know what I mean? She looked like she's got some potential there. She just probably wasn't ready. Maybe she
Wasn't
just,
ready, like, to do the video, or wasn't ready to be married, or wasn't ready for the
I
skin.
mean,
Like, what?
she
What was she
just
not ready for?
like, because some people have like an on mode and an off mode. She was just in her off mode. I feel like if you just put like, if she got dolled up, she'd be pretty.
Yeah.
I just
Erica
kind of
said she
felt
didn't
like,
look as confident as I thought she would look, but she's.
yeah,
Yeah.
weren't you surprised? I was a little shocked. So
Yeah.
initially I was shocked. My second feeling,
Deborah says, bonnet boy. She's just giving up.
see, and then here's the comments that are really funny. And it's like, I
Oh,
don't want to laugh
yeah.
because, here's the thing, like, I feel torn because I read the comments and there are comments going on in my own head and it's funny, but at the same time, like, these are real people. This is a real family. So, like, at the beginning of the video, like I saw the second video when she really spoke more. Please don't look at
I'm
the
laughing at
comments.
the comment.
I'm trying to be serious, Boyce.
Brittany Martin, I'm gonna call you out because you made
What
me
did she
laugh.
write?
She said she could have looked presentable, but she looked like she was getting ready to walk to the mailbox.
Yeah, it was like she was just kind of lounging. She was in her loungewear. And like she was just almost like it was almost like F it, let's just do a video right now. You know what I mean? It was just like it felt very spontaneous. Stop.
I look.
Stop making me
I
laugh.
am no longer looking at you.
Don't look at the comments
I
because they're
am
too
not gonna look at the
funny.
comments. They're making me
And the
laugh.
thing is, like, I don't want to laugh because this is
Because
like
it's not funny.
it's
This ain't no laughing matter.
it is funny, but it's not really a joke because, like, okay, so like as the video kept going, it's like when she first started talking, like my heart poured out to her. Like I felt sorry. Like, can you imagine how humiliating that must be? That's humiliating, boys.
Yeah.
You know, to just have like all your like business, intimate business between you and your spouse that you would not want out there, like out there. And so I just thought it was just like, oh my God, this is so courageous for her to get up there and to talk about this on the cuff. Like I just felt like it was like spontaneous. She was lounging around the house and was just like, you know what, Derrick, put the video on. We're gonna do a video. Like that's how I felt. And so our video, it's just our cute little picture up there. If they, I mean, I got my pajamas on right now, and I
Well,
don't, you don't want. I mean, well, these
well,
pajamas,
you look
these
beautiful no matter what.
pajamas.
You
By the
look
way,
good.
these pajamas aren't ready for prime time, but
No, they're not.
they're kind of like revealing. But anyway, but see, that's just our business, right? You know.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that like I felt like instantly I felt sorry for her because here she is talking about something that clearly was very painful for her. She did leave him for some time, but as they kept talking, it started coming out that it wasn't just like he had done this one thing with this one woman. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Then it started coming out that there were multiple women. There were
Mm-hmm.
multiple women. There were multiple occasions. He had done this several different times. So he had like totally cheated on her like Boyce, slept with other women several times in the 12 or whatever years that they were together. And then by the end of the video, I was thinking like, why is she still with him? And then it was almost like I took him back because he accepted, like he's almost like a born again Christian. He accepted Jesus and God into his life.
Is that what you
And
said?
so like now he's a
Oh.
new man. So it almost became to be like, it
Oof.
felt like a testimony. You know how people like,
So she was saying that like because he accepted Jesus, like it's all done. It's
they
over.
didn't say Jesus. He
Or
said
God.
God. I
Okay.
always listen
So
to see if people say Jesus or
okay.
God.
So because he accepted God,
She took him
she's
back
saying that. So does she think that's gonna change things? Like,
because she prayed on it. And I mean, like,
mm,
I really do admire that courage. It takes a very strong woman to take a man back after he has slept with a bunch of different women. Like, I'm gonna tell you, like, I don't
yeah.
have that in me.
You
I don't
know,
have that in me.
well, the reason I didn't get married in my 20s was because I didn't, because when you're young and you're full of testosterone, and especially if you're famous, like you and women are in temptations being thrown at you every day, it's very difficult. I don't know how women handle their shit. I mean, I think women do their stuff too. They just cover it up better. We know that women, women cheat. We know this, right? But not at the same rate as men. And studies show that high testosterone is deeply connected to infidelity,
Mm-hmm.
and also high testosterone is also connected to abuse. Now I'm not saying Derrick is abusive. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that when like I'll give you an example. When I saw Kobe Bryant was 19 years old, just joined the NBA,
And he got
and
married,
he got
right?
married.
Yeah, that was a problem.
I was like, I would bet $1 trillion that he's not going to be able to handle all that temptation. Now, the difference between, I think, a guy in his 20s and older guys, this is why I think I really do think that there are people. I heard someone say that men should get married when they're a little older, above 35,
Oh, for
after they're
sure.
shown their oats, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I agree with that, because when you're in your 20s, and you see women, it's like you're a kid in a candy store, and you can end up in a lot of crazy situations. Then when you get like a little older and you've kind of had a little this and a little bit of that, you kind of get to the point where you're like, okay, I see it, I appreciate it, but I know the trouble that can come with it.
Yeah,
And
I agree with
I think
you.
that's what it is. Because when I
Yeah.
see, let's just be clear. I mean, sure, you could say, okay, Derrick is not, he wasn't good to his wife. He did whatever he did, but you need to hold that other woman accountable too. You should be
What do you mean hold the other women
kissing and
accountable?
telling. Like, I don't like
Oh,
how many of you, give me a yes or no in the chat. How many of you have ever gotten on the internet and told the whole world that you had sex with somebody? Like, mention their name. I had sex with Joe Wilson, or I had sex with Teresa Smith. Like, that kiss and tell thing, I think that's tacky as hell.
Yeah, it's
I don't have any
tacky.
respect for that. I don't care
It's
what the person was doing. You shouldn't be running around telling people who you had sex with. That's violating trust. Sex is a personal thing. And I don't care if I'm gonna tell you the truth. I have had when when I was single, there were times where a woman was in a situation and I didn't judge one way or the other, but it's like I knew from the jump that as a matter of ethics that I, no matter how mad I would get, that there was no reason for me to go be like, okay, now I'm pissed off at you. Now I'm gonna go ruin your image, ruin your reputation. I'm gonna tell everybody you a slut. I'm gonna tell everybody you slept with me while you were still separated from your husband but still married. Fuck that. Like that's bullshit. Like I think people need to talk about that too. Again, if you're gonna talk about Derrick, sure, talk about Derrick because Derrick made a lot of mistakes here. It's 100% clear. I think his wife obviously is the greatest victim in this. But I look over at the other women that are like basically saying, we're going to make sure he gets destroyed. Well, that's toxic energy too.
Well, the thing is, okay, so here's the thing. The other woman doesn't owe you nothing. You know what I mean? It's up to the man. I mean, it's up to the two. When two people are in a committed relationship, it is up to them to set the terms for their relationship and how the rules are going to be. And so, it's always possible that if you're going to step out on your relationship, that somebody is going to tell it. You know what I mean? And so that's always, it's the onus is not on the side chick. The onus is on
I think
the onus is on the people in the relationship to honor and respect that relationship. So it doesn't
yeah,
really,
but
like, kissing and telling, like, whatever. The onus is on, like, that other lady doesn't owe them
I think it's
anything.
up.
You know,
I think it's on all of them. No,
it's
seriously.
tacky all
If I
around.
when I was single and a woman who was separated wanted to connect with me, I felt just as a decent human being that
Mm-hmm.
I would not be vindictive and just be like, okay,
And mess up her
I'm gonna
stuff.
go tell everybody what you did and what you said to me. Like I just don't think that's appropriate. I think that's inappropriate behavior, and I think that it's people positioning themselves as victims because clearly she was vindictive. She was mad.
Oh
Maybe
yeah.
she felt disrespected. Maybe she felt like she didn't get what she wanted out of Derrick. And sometimes shit even comes down to money. You never know. I mean, you never know about any of these situations. So I just kind of think I think that the wife is the biggest victim, but even the wife is not a 100% victim. Like we got to get out of this mindset that men are predators all the time and women are 100% victim. Because no, women are not stupid. Women are not children.
Mm-hmm.
Women know who they're sleeping with, and it was not rape. So I personally think that in terms of sorting it out, the big challenge though, I think, is for people to be critical thinking enough to say, okay, we know now that you understand the nature of Derrick's business, okay, it's like I'm gonna get up here, show shiny muscles, and look good to women, feed them a fantasy, tell them what they want to hear, tell them, you're a beautiful queen, and the only reason you're single is because men are terrible or whatever. I think he had a shirt on. He had some shirt. Did I tell you he had a shirt on? The shirt says "Stretch Mark Lover," and literally it says "Stretch Mark Lover." And now, I'm not saying that stretch marks are like disastrous, but that's clearly pandering. That's clearly you saying to like that single mother, like, I'm the man of your dreams. And I just kind of think that's not cool because I think if you really want to get better and you really want to achieve your relationship goal, you need somebody's gonna hold you accountable on your shit. If you don't fix your shit, you always gonna be in the middle of shit. So if somebody's always telling you you're perfect just the way you are, you always a queen, blah, blah, even when you acting ratchet, you're a queen. No, you're not. When you're ratchet, you're ratchet. When you're a disgrace or when nobody wants to be around you because your attitude is funky, you're not a queen. Stop telling every woman she's a queen. That ain't true. Just like every man ain't a king. Some of these men, people want to call them kings, but they act like bitches. So no, everybody ain't a queen, everybody ain't a king. You got to earn that status.
Well, clearly you have very strong feelings about it because I couldn't get one word in at all with that.
Go
So
ahead,
you
baby.
you
I'm gonna
clearly
shut
have
up.
really lots to
I was
say.
the king of that little dialogue,
You
wasn't I? I'm
were.
gonna
You
be
had the.
quiet.
I let you go on
I'm
with
gonna
your
be
rant.
quiet. I'm gonna be quiet. Go
But
ahead, baby.
but seriously, like, so as the video like progressed, then I started getting kind of like, huh, like, good grief, this was multiple women on multiple occasions. Like, girl, get out. Like, at some point, it's time to exit. Like, you can pray for your husband all you want, but I think, like, if it's just a continuous pattern of sleeping around with other women, it may be time to call it quit. And I always root for couples being together. But if it's just an ongoing pattern of him cheating constantly, like it seemed like the whole entire time, and then now all of a sudden he turns a new leaf, I'd be like, you know what? You've turned a new leaf. God bless you. May Jesus be with you. I wish you the best. I love you. Goodbye. You know what I mean? Like I kind of feel like at what point is enough? And then when I was watching the video, at the end of the video, I felt sorry for her again because I felt like she looked like she was in her 20s. You know, she seemed like a really young lady, and I kind of felt like she was hasn't she just has a lot of life to live. You know, she's somebody who needs to experience more things out of life. I just felt like she looked like she couldn't be 30 years old.
So
You
would you say
know?
that it's better? Like, okay, so you're married to Derrick Jaxn,
Uh-huh.
and on one hand, you've got crazy stuff like this to deal with. On the other hand, maybe Derrick made a couple of $1 million last year.
Fuck the $1 million.
Right. I know.
You
I know.
can
Hold
take
on. Wait.
that $1 million.
I get it.
I'm so tired.
I get it.
Hold on. I don't want to have another conversation about love and money anymore because it is not about the money. It is not about the money. It is about the respect level. And I don't care. You can have $1 billion.
Right.
You know what I
I get
mean?
it. I get
Okay,
it.
so
But
let's don't
let
go
me just
there.
say this. No, seriously, let me just say, let me flip it. Let me flip the gender.
Like that should not
hold
matter.
on, wait, hold on, babe. Let me flip the gender so it's not a male-female conversation.
Okay.
I will say this. If you were a billionaire and I knew that you were going to cheat on me every now and then, and I had a choice between being married to a cheating billionaire or to be by myself, or to have to go back out and find somebody else to be with, honestly, I would consider being with a cheating billionaire. I would just change my frame of reference and my expectations.
Yeah, I mean, and I think it happens a lot. I mean, you see a lot of open marriages. You see a lot
Or
of
maybe not,
no.
maybe not even open marriage.
Yeah, it's
Just
open.
because your partner has an open marriage doesn't mean you have to.
Well, you do see a lot of agreements in relationships where we just be like, okay, we'll just agree to that, but it has to be something that's agreed to, and you just have to. There are some people out there, men and women. There's some men too that are out there
Mm.
who are just saying, okay, I'll turn a blind eye. And that's the type of marriage. So whatever it is the type of marriage, spoken or unspoken, that's the type of marriage that they have. And that's more power to them if they can do that. If they really if they're just out for money. Now, I have a philosophy based on, well, you've heard my philosophy, um, just based on human development and spiritual development, where it goes a lot deeper than that. But that point aside, it did not seem like that's where she was at in the video. It just seemed like they did this video, they're rededicating themselves to each other. And I could not quite understand how she was able to come back to him, even just
remember,
because, just because he found God.
It's not your job to judge her, though. Like, it's not your job to decide for her what's best for her.
It's just hard for me. Like, I'm
right?
watching this show.
I
I'm
get
watching.
it. I know it's hard for you. Hold on, wait a minute.
Yeah, but
wait. You gotta let me say this.
Okay, all right. Say that point, and then I have another point after that. Okay.
So what I'm saying is that I don't think anybody should have a relationship where other people are telling you what you shouldn't do. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I could be in a relationship with somebody who is unfaithful. Like, so if I love you, I already decided that I don't own you. That I can't, that because here's, what I figured out when I was younger, and this is why I didn't get married. I said, wait a minute, whoa. So you mean you could really love somebody and give them all your time, dedicate your life, give them all your money, and if you cheat a couple times, then that makes you a bad person? I said, I'm not signing up for that.
Oh, does it?
No, well, whatever. In the eyes of a lot of people talk about you like a dog. So I had a lot of friends. I saw a lot of friends who really loved their wives, who got caught up in temptation, did something when they were drunk or whatever, a couple times. And suddenly it's like, this guy's worthless. He's a piece of crap because he didn't fit this high standard of marriage. So the thought would be, what if we had a day where we told men, If you ever cheat in a marriage, they're going to cut off your genitals. Like if you get caught, your penis will be removed. You will never have a penis again. So let's say that, and we're gonna take all your money. We're gonna take everything you got, and we're gonna cut off your penis. And let's say millions of men. Let's say there's what, like 200, 150 million men in the country. Let's say 80 million men were like, oh God, I don't want to take that chance. Like, I don't plan to be a cheater, but I don't want to put it all on the line like that. And they just said, I'm not going to get married. I will date women. I will sleep with them. I will, I will go out on dates with them, but I will not commit to anything. I would never commit. Would women be happy with that? Would women be happy if every man who's ever done something unfaithful had in the beginning just said, I'm never going to commit to you? Because, and I'll tell you, and the reason I bring this,
you're asking a question, but then
I
you're
know, I know,
not
I know.
letting me
And let me tell
answer
you,
it.
I want you to answer it, because the reason I asked this question is because I remember when I was 27 and I met a girl that I really liked, and she wanted to marry me. And I said, I would marry you, but I don't know if I can make a promise that I don't know if I'm ever going to, I don't know if I'm going to keep that promise. And so at that point, it wasn't like I got applauded for being honest. I got attacked because you won't commit, you won't commit, you won't commit. And I was like, well, I'm not signing up for something where if you get me to make a promise I don't want to make, and then I come up short, then you talk about me like a dog. So either way, I'm gonna get dogged out no matter what. That's my issue with that.
Okay, so there are several thoughts that came to my head. I got to try to gather them all because you talk kind of long there. Okay, so the very first of all, I want to make a point about, I'm watching this show called Married at First Sight.
Which is crazy.
Oh my goodness. So it's this issue with Paige. Okay. So Paige is married to this man. She needs to dump him fast. Okay. Because he he has done
Okay, we
every
don't know, man,
single
we don't know who
thing.
Paige is.
Okay. People got to watch Married at First Sight. So they get married. Okay. At first sight.
Which is
Okay.
which is
He's
which is a
telling her,
bad which is a bad decision. Go ahead.
okay, can I finish, please?
Yes.
Okay. So he's telling her on the night of their honeymoon, they sleep together. Okay. And then he turns around and tells her, I'm not attracted to you at all.
Okay.
He tells her. Then he goes and he's gotten his girlfriend pregnant, his ex-girlfriend pregnant. What? He got his ex-girlfriend pregnant. Like, it's been, what I'm saying is that it's been a series of things that he's done to her that demonstrates that the relationship is toxic. So don't have the perception that a man, he just cheats and that's it, and everything is thrown away. You have to understand it, for a woman or a man to decide to end a marriage, it has to be a series of things that's happened. It has to be like, you did this that was disrespectful, you did this that was disrespectful. It's like an ongoing thing that's totally disrespectful, and it's almost like, oh my God, how much more of it can I put up with? And that's what makes a marriage end. You know what I
Okay.
mean? It's just a pattern of either a pattern of deceit, a pattern of lying, a pattern of spending all the money, a pattern of beating on you, a pattern of everything that's been disrespectful, that just makes a woman just, or a man, because it goes the other way, but it's typically the woman ends it, you know what I mean? The wife ends it. And it's just an ongoing thing where you're just not getting any of your own needs met in the relationship. So it's not just this one. I just want to give you a realistic view, because I see couples, it's not just one isolated thing. It's typically, it's just a series of things where just people who struggle in these relationships, they're just at their wits end. And sometimes by the time they come and see me, it's like so far gone, there's nothing we can do. There's so much resentment that's built up. And so the thing is that you don't want to keep making a whole bunch of mistakes in your relationship, because then your spouse doesn't even want to be around you. It's just like, oh my God, I'm in this marriage, how am I going to get out? How am I going to get out of this? Do I wait till the kids graduate from college, or do I wait for Johnny to graduate from high school? It's just like a waiting game. And it's a sad thing to see. So you don't want to be married to somebody and abuse them. because that's what you're doing.
Well,
You're
well,
emotionally abusing someone
I
because you don't care about their
right, I get that.
feelings.
Well, then again, and then if he had never married her, if he had dated her for 5 years and then said, "I don't want to marry you because I'm Derrick Jaxn and I got 10,000 women on speed dial that want to all fuck me," they would have called him a dog for that too. So
No, they wouldn't have
that
called him a dog. They
no,
just would have said,
maybe
"Hey, you're being honest." People respect.
no,
Okay,
no.
fine. That's what you want.
Believe me, as a man who I was offered that I had several chances to get married, and I was like, I don't want to get married,
Oh well, don't I
and
feel special?
yeah, you are special. And notice I married you in my 40s. I knew you in my 20s, but I wouldn't have married you in my 20s. I
Oh
thought
well,
you
I wouldn't have married you in my 20s
right. Well,
either because I wasn't
so
ready.
it was really good. I mean, it was actually good that you married someone else because in my 20s, I was not a stupid person. Like, I was actually like a teaching college students in my 20s. So I analyzed everything and I didn't understand the marriage thing. I said, clearly commitment doesn't mean anything in this country because everybody's getting divorced. I didn't grow up with that. I grew up with two parents who've been married 46 years. I saw them just make a decision. We're together and that's it. That's it.
Hmm.
And that,
So
but
they were committed to each other.
they were committed. But here's the thing, though. A lot of people, if they were to see that marriage, a lot of men would have told my dad, "Why are you wasting your time in this situation? She's nagging you. You got all these options. You got all these other women." And women would have told my mother, "Why would you be with this man?" Because my father did cheat. He's admitted that on the pulpit. He's talked about it. My father, he was a little bit of a player. So my thought was, with marriage for me, my thought was either you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. That's how
Hmm.
I see it. Like, don't sign up for it and then you're just like, oh my God, this other person ruined my life and made me so abused. Like I love you so much, right? But but I will never be a person. I'm not wired to be a victim. Like if
Hmm.
my life is terrible, I'm not gonna say like I'm really depressed and I'm miserable because Alicia just abused me because I signed up for this.
Well, listen, I'm not saying I don't think you should marry anybody that abuses you. You know what I mean?
Mm.
If you feel abused, you really shouldn't be with that person, and you should feel comfortable enough to talk to that person about it. You know what I mean? I don't think that people should stay in a marriage just to stay there if the other person isn't committed to them. It really takes a two-way street, and the thing is that it takes its toll on you physically and mentally. I mean, your interpersonal relationship, your significant other has an impact on not only the children, it has an impact on your mental health, your physical health. It has an impact on just the environment of which you're raising children, and that's really the key. Why be with somebody if you're just going to be mean to them and nasty to them? Like, if you're just going to hurt them over and over again. I don't know anybody that can put up with being hurt, continuously being hurt and abused in a relationship. I
Okay,
really
so
don't think that's
do you
fair.
think that Derek is hurtful and abusive because of the women?
He was
Like,
no, he admitted
or do you think it's possible that he loves her, like really loves her, and just says no? So okay, so he admitted what?
he admitted in the video that he was hurtful and abusive, and I don't know, he didn't use the word abusive, but he did admit in the video, like, he took full accountability for it. He even said that, like, I didn't take my own advice. I wouldn't have said, like, I was saying one thing, but I was doing another. Like, he definitely spoke quite openly about the contradiction, which was very interesting that he did that. And then at the end of the video, I wanted to note that he talked about himself in the third person,
Mm,
and you know how I feel about that.
yeah, you don't
Like,
like that.
it is a sign that there's something, to me, it's a sign that there's something with your personality that's a little off.
I can see
Like,
that.
some people who have a little bit of narcissism tend to do that. Um, and to talk about yourself in the third person is troubling. And and
So
and that's when somebody lying to you too, by the way, when they
so
talk
what?
to you in the third
So
person.
what do you think about I think with when it comes to Derek's abuse or Derek's alleged, what would call it abuse, alleged infidelity, whatever, or not alleged, it was admitted. Um, I'm wondering, what I would say with Derek is for sure, at the very least, I think that he will probably have to present his brand in a different way. And
Yeah.
I think also, and I'm wondering if there's a way for a guy like him to give relationship advice and just kind of Let's say he was just the sexy single man. Like there's space for that. Like Kevin Samuels is a single man who gives a perspective, and a lot of people like him. Kevin Samuels ain't lying to you. He's not pretending to be your man of your dreams. None of that shit. He's just telling you truth, or his truth. And people don't like that because they think that's mean and abusive. But they love Derrick's stuff because it sounded rosy and wonderful. Maybe the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Well, it seemed like the direction that he might want to go into, he might want to get into the Christian space, and he might want to do more videos with his wife. Like that's what I got.
Mm.
Like if he and his wife sat down and did like pastoral sort of angle, it seemed like that's the right direction. From what I saw, that's the direction they might need to go in.
Well, the church. Well, first of all, if his audience is majority women, black women are the most religious group of people in America. Like
Hmm.
studies show that. Like they go to church more on a higher percentage. Like if a black woman don't go to church, all her black female friends will pressure her into going to church, or they'll talk about her like something's wrong with her. I
Oh,
think.
it's what church you go to is part of your identity. It's like when you meet somebody, they'd be like, okay, what's your home church? You know what
Yeah.
I
What's your
mean?
church
I am such and
home?
such, and my home church is such and such, with pastor so and so, and they say the name, they go through the whole thing. So it's part
Hmm.
of your identity in some pockets of Black American culture.
Yeah.
And the thing is that they definitely may have a really good position in that space
Well, the thing is, I think the
because
church.
that single man, flashy, showing your body or whatever, I think, he may reconsider that.
Well, the thing about church is a place that offers infinite redemption. So no matter
Oh, yeah.
how low you could go to the depths of hell with your behavior, and as long as you say, "I'm not perfect," God is working with me. But I serve a perfect God or something. I think Kirk Franklin used language like that.
Yeah, we're
I
switching topics now. We can talk
Well,
about
no, no,
Kirk
no, you
Franklin
no, you
too.
no, you
Yeah.
well, yeah, you were talking about going into the church space, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So basically, in the church, you have infinite forgiveness coupons for anything that you do, as long as you come to the altar and etc. And so, and everybody knows about some of the interesting things that happen in churches. The hypocrisy that exists. So I could see that, right? Like with her saying, "I prayed about it, and now it's going to magically go away. All the problems that we have." But I really think, still, at the end of the day, though, if she were my daughter and she came to me and said, um, you know, my husband, is this famous guy who did this, this, and this. First of all, if that was my daughter, from the very jump, I would have talked to her about, like, okay, are you ready for life as the wife of a famous man? Just know that a lot of men are faithful, not because they. Chris Rock actually gave women an interesting piece of truth where he said men are as faithful as their options, and people didn't want to hear it because it doesn't fit the fantasy. But Chris Rock, who himself has talked about things that he's done, he was telling a truth that men are like kind of chuckling about it. Women are like, "Oh, that ain't true. He just said he just blah blah blah." It's like, okay, well, you keep believing that, So I would say that if she were my daughter, I would have talked to her about being married to a famous man. And if she said she was ready for that, I would be like, look, there's going to be times where you might have to make some trade offs, if you want to stay married. And if you don't want to stay married, then don't do it. Don't wait.
Yeah. She
Don't waste everybody's
probably,
time.
she probably, I mean, I think nobody gets married thinking that their spouse is just going to continuously cheat on them. I think like, just stay single if that's what it's going to be. Like
Yeah.
don't get married if you're not ready to make that type of commitment
Yeah.
and to keep the marriage sacred. It's like no one's forcing you, and especially men, because it's the man is who's proposing. You know
Right.
what I mean? If you're
Right.
proposing, you have to know exactly. And then again, you never know what couples agree to.
Yeah.
Couples need to agree and they both need to be on the same page about what the boundaries are.
Yeah. I think that men who are going to have a hard time with the monogamy piece, it sounds like there are people who say, just don't get married, just don't do it. That's cool. But that
Mm-hmm.
means
Mm-hmm.
women can't be running around beating up on men who don't want to commit.
Oh
Like,
no, yeah, they
like,
shouldn't.
don't talk bad about him if he says, "Look, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing that monogamy thing. I'm
Mm-hmm.
not interested. My women know
Yeah. Oh
exactly what
yeah.
I'm doing. They, and because that's the thing. Like people, I hear people, we get into this whole gender equality thing where they're like, well, if a man can do this and a man can do that, then why can't women do the same thing? Okay, that's no problem. I'm not judging that.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing
Mm-hmm.
about it is, a man is, a man, most men I know, they can
Mm-hmm.
tolerate a woman who is doing whatever she wants to do, but it's usually a woman that he don't care nothing about.
That's right.
He's not
Yeah.
going to help her pay no bills. He's not going to show up when she gets sick in the hospital. He's not going to
Yeah.
be there for her when, like your wife is that person where you're really making the sacrifice. Like you're giving her your time, you're giving her your resources, you're going and publicly committing to this one person. So that's a big thing for,
Mm-hmm.
it's easy for a man who ain't got nothing else going on. But when a man has options, he has to let go of all the options to
Mm-hmm.
choose that commitment.
Yeah, and I think like even when you commit to that on the other side of that, it could be a very beautiful space. But it's gonna take, and that's where it's gonna take you growing and stretching and learning about yourself, and um, it's just gonna take a whole lot of work to make it work. And I think like maybe that's the lesson that Derrick Jaxn is learning. He and his wife. I wish him the best. I really do. Like I just kind of just felt bad. I felt sad for her. I can't imagine what she's been going through for the past year dealing with this. And then that was another thing. Like while I was thinking, like, he was good grief, he was doing some ratchet stuff. You could hear a baby in the background. You could hear like a little toddler in the background, and it just broke my heart. I'm like, oh my God, these are and they reminded me that this is a family. Like this is a family of four. I think that's what they said. They had two children together. And I'm thinking, good grief, this is a family of four. And so it just brought the human side of the entire thing into question. And so I really hope that he's serious about rededicating himself to her. It seemed like that he was really making himself vulnerable, extremely vulnerable by putting himself out there. She was brave to get on camera like that and say what she said, but it looked like she was moved by the spirit to speak, even though she was in her loungewear. Sometimes when
Mm.
the spirit moves you, you just have to go for it, even if you're lounging around. So, like, that's kind of like how I saw it. And I try not to giggle and laugh at the comments, but the comments were just golden, golden. They were just beautiful because it was funny.
Well, I did see some funny comments, but and I don't know. I'm not really. I don't know Derrick Jaxn at all. And if anybody knows him, and he, wants to call me, I would talk to him.
Oh
I
yeah.
would be very happy to talk to him, just like in an older brother capacity, to give him my 2 cents on it without judgment. Because I don't think I'm not a person that's interested in sitting here saying you're a terrible person because you're attracted to women and you lost your discipline. I don't think that makes him a bad person. I know women, women see it a certain way because women are not men. You don't know what's going on in his mind, in his body. It's after we as we
Oh,
count.
don't play
As,
boys.
no, no, no.
Women can cheat like they ain't no tomorrow.
Women
I
can't.
have seen. Let me
Well,
tell you, I
right.
have heard
Right. And women do a lot of shit.
women
But
do a lot of
just
stuff.
remember though, and women do a lot of shit in relationships that can be defined as abusive
Oh,
that may
absolutely.
not involve anything sexual. Like,
Yeah,
and so what I'm
they
saying
do
is,
some.
yeah, so what I'm saying
It
is
goes
that,
both ways.
right, so I'm saying that with Derrick, I think if you're going to criticize, those few things that he did wrong, I think it's a balanced way to look at it would be to say, what things did he do right? What where are the areas? Let's name, if we're gonna name the things that a man does wrong, I'm a fan of saying let's name all the things he does right so we can mix it all together and see him as a human being instead of just seeing him in one particular flawed context.
Well, I just kind of like, I mean, it's kind of like what builds a relationship is trust. And I think that you could be doing wonderful things, but like if you don't have that trust and commitment, the whole relationship falls apart anyway. And I will have to say, like, another comment about the video was that, like, she gathered up her stuff and left, which I thought was interesting
She
because,
did.
yeah,
What
because
after Tasha K?
I don't know, after no, this was before all of that. She saw something and gathered her stuff. I would not be doing that. It'd be like, I'm staying here, you're out. It'd
Hmm.
be like, why am I inconveniencing myself because of
Well,
you? Like, you go. Like, I don't know. Like, some of that I thought was like, okay, maybe she was just mad and stormed off. But I wouldn't have been, I kind of would have been like, Mm-mm.
Well,
You
but
gotta go.
one thing I've noticed about a lot of
Anyway,
them.
that was my other
Well, one thing
feedback.
I've noticed about the comments on Derek is a lot of people seem almost happy to watch him fall.
Yeah,
You know,
I didn't like that. I had to be human about the whole thing, you know?
yeah,
Show some compassion.
I feel like it's I don't know, it's just kind of
It's almost like Kirk Franklin, Derrick Jaxn. What's next? Who's
well,
next?
most
I feel
black
bad.
well there's always somebody looking to take to b- define black men in a one-dimensional capacity.
And
I
really
don't do
don't,
that.
yeah, I don't like it because, like, in my practice, I see I see white families, I see African American families, I see Hispanic families. Like, they have serious problems. Like, it's not just like issues in families is not ascribed to just one race. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
There's a lot to go around and a lot of things that family in and of itself are dealing with, especially in this pandemic. Like, families are really coming across a lot of stuff. Children are remote learning for a whole year. They have no motivation to even get up to turn the computer on. Like, we have some of
We're
that
talking about
going
Derek
on.
Jackson.
I know, but I'm just saying, I'm talking about families and things that families are up against. Derrick Jaxn's family is up against a challenge, but all of us are up against a challenge as a family in this pandemic. We're all kind of in it together. And so what I'm saying is that it's not just a black man issue. It's
Mm.
something that's like all families are dealing with these things.
I'm gonna put
Uh-huh.
Denise's comment up here. She says, "I think Boyce is on to something." So since Denise agrees with me, then that obviously makes her a smart
Well,
person.
what else did she write? Is that all she wrote?
She said she was gone for a year, over a year prior to it becoming public. It's easy to side view another person's relationships. Love can make a person see more than another's mistakes. Okay, I think she's saying that that part about side viewing other people's relationships. Yeah, I'm not real. I don't think any of us has the ability to do deep seated analysis on the life of Derrick Jaxn in that way. I've only really spoken on the brand was structured because that's what I saw was I just would kind of giggle and laugh like damn like I was like I don't know who is making the bigger mistake here, the guy who's presenting himself in this perfect way, taking doing videos with his shirt off and stuff like that, or the women who really think this is actually a context within which you're going to actually get good, accurate advice. It was emotional porn. It was relationship porn. You're taking damaged
Mm-hmm.
individuals, who need therapy, who many of whom hate their daddies, didn't grow up without a father. 76% of all black women do not have a father in the house. That matters. And you're presenting yourself as this sexy eye candy who tells them what they want to hear. It's literally emotional heroin. It's very similar to what you get in a lot of churches. That's what you get. You go to church because you need your fix. Because your real life is not what you want it to be. It takes work to make your real life what you want it to be. So you take it in the same way a drug addict takes in a drug, or an obese person goes straight for the fried chicken and eats themselves to sleep every night. And
Mm-hmm.
nobody ever stops that person to say, if you keep eating like that, you're going to die. You're going to get diabetes, get your foot cut off, and die. Everybody says, no, girl, that's body positivity. And anybody who challenges you, anybody who holds you accountable, anybody who pushes you to do better is a bad person. He's abusing you. I don't agree with that. I wasn't raised that way.
Yeah, all I can say is that in relationships, you want to be seen and heard for who and what you are. You want to be accepted for who you are. And you want someone to see all of that and to love you deeply. Like, men and women alike desire to have and to be with somebody who really, really genuinely loves them and can give them everything and meet their needs. Like, they want to make themselves vulnerable. They want to be able to open up. And I think that when you go off with other women or you're abusive to other person, you're building up walls. You know what I mean? Because you're too afraid. You're too afraid to really love deeply. And I think that real deep connection is something that all of us desire to have, but we have all of this trauma in our history, all of these reasons why we're just not able to overcome some of our own personal challenges in order to get the relationship we want. I honestly believe that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Chris says Derrick Jaxn was single mother's Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah, he was. And he knew what he was doing. You know, he knew that was what was happening.
Well,
And it backfired on him.
there's a reason
You
why
know?
there's a reason I've always said that a young man, especially a young single man, there's a lot of churches that will not allow a young single man to be the pastor. You got to be above a certain age and you have to be married. And the reason is because when you are the head of the church, there's something weird, like where some of the women, I don't know if it's the brainwashing process, but they almost worship the man, and
Mm-hmm.
it allows him to have temptations and to act on that in a way that's going to get him in trouble. And so I think when I see Derrick, that's what I saw. I see him almost like the head of a church, but and
Mm-hmm.
he's young and he's and you're sending single vibes, like you're giving the emotional porn and you're sending out mating calls, like mating, like
Mm-hmm.
every animal has a mating call. There are things you do when you want to appear attractive to the opposite sex. That's how my gaydar works. That's how I can tell if a person's gay. If I look at a woman and I say there's nothing about your appearance that would attract a man, that tells me that you probably date women. Same thing is true with men.
Well, I mean, there's lipstick lesbians.
Or whatever you want to call it. I don't
They're
know.
called the people who are more feminine
Yeah, absolutely.
lesbians.
Absolutely. But the point I'm making
Okay.
the point I'm making on it though
Yeah, yeah, I get your
is
point.
like with women, like there's a way women dress when they want to be seductive, the way they talk, there's a way they talk when they want to seduce you, things like that. The same thing is true with men. So if you are trying to seduce the women as you're giving them this advice, but you're pretending like you don't notice, like you forgot that your shirt was off, or you
Mm-hmm.
forgot that your muscles are bulging out of your wife beater, um, you know, then I mean
You're
that
at the gym and you want to do a video.
right.
You
I
have
got
your
to do this
muscles
video
out
when I'm at the
while you
gym, and
while you're
yeah, it's just
lifting
kind of
weights.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's going to work because sex sells, but because it happens all over the internet. Like
Mm-hmm.
there are really pretty women who give relationship advice, and they know what they're doing. They look a certain way, and the men tune in for two reasons. The men tune in because one, she's gorgeous, and two, and they just sit there and stare at her, and two, she's saying what they want to hear. Like, like there's nothing wrong with you. Women are just black women need to stop doing this. Women need to stop doing that. And that's what people.
Oh, the black woman bashers on the internet. The
Yeah,
women that
yeah,
get up
just
there and bash black women. You know, those are my favorite kind of people.
yeah. You
Bash.
you're taking in a fantasy. Like here's
Uh-huh.
this drop
Oh,
dead gorgeous woman.
interesting.
This drop dead gorgeous woman who understands everything down to like I don't know why I sit on the couch all day and hold my balls. Like she thinks that's really great, and that my girl's just tripping when she gets mad at me for it. I wish I could have a woman like that.
So
And
it's not realistic. Is
well,
that what you're saying? It's
yeah,
not
I guess
realistic.
it's like you got to decide what you're really trying to do. That's it. Like,
Hmm.
what are you trying to do?
So what is
Are
he
you
gonna do
real?
now? You think he's gonna keep this whole take my shirt off and do a
Well, I
video?
think Derrick is gonna keep it moving because has a lot of people that are gonna believe him no matter what.
Hmm.
One of the things that helps the church and other organizations move forward is when people really believe in you, they
Hmm.
really believe in you. And as long as you give them an exit, an out route, like a way they can
An
forgive you,
excuse.
yeah, give them an excuse. They'll even take a bad one. Like there
Hmm.
was actually I saw somebody that said something that made a funny quote where they said, I think you sent it to me, where it said, um, men don't have to lie to women. If she loves you enough, she'll just lie to herself.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I think with Derrick, as long as he just kind of says, look, this is what happened. Here's my wife. I mean, ain't nobody seen a guy's wife like ever.
I've never seen her before.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
and they just sort of shift it up a little bit, and kind of everything, any type of energy, this kind of attention can always be turned into a positive if you work it right. Like Kevin Samuels blew up on the video that was literally the one that was designed to take him down. Usually when somebody tries to take you down, it backfires on them. Or even in my own life, like I never became more well known so fast than when Bill O'Reilly spent a whole hour on his show trying to destroy me.
How did it feel at the time?
It was like very shocking because it
Okay.
wasn't true. It's hard
Mm-hmm.
when people lie on you, and
Mm-hmm.
and at that time it was the number one show in America. So it was really tough. It was kind of crazy to see. It's almost surreal. But what it did was it elevated me to his status,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what happens
And
when.
then look what happened to Bill O'Reilly. He got taken down.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why you got to be careful about trying to just talk down on somebody or thinking that you're gonna crush them
Yeah.
with your power. Like Roland Martin
If you
tried.
live in glass houses, you shouldn't be throwing rocks or stones or whatever they're saying.
Yeah, or like when
Mm-hmm.
Roland Martin tried to destroy that kid that built that school down in Georgia, King
Oh,
Randall.
we're gonna build him up, or you're gonna build him up
Yeah, well,
for
King. The
sure.
thing was when King Randall went on there and Roland was beating him up, everybody saw Roland Martin beating him up,
Mm-hmm.
and they felt bad for him, and a lot of people agreed with
Yeah.
what the kid was saying. They were like, "Yeah, we do need our own schools. Yeah, we do need to stop depending on white people. Yeah, we do need to empower our community." So a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people followed up. Like King's whole, like he really, on one hand, it's like, "How dare you, Roland, attack this 21-year-old kid?" But on the other hand, it's where his arrogance backfired on him. His arrogance is, I'm Roland Martin. I can tear down anybody. I'm going to take you down because I'm popular and I'm powerful.
Yeah, it did not make him look good that he sat and just chastised this wonderful, beautiful man who was speaking all this great knowledge. It did
Yeah.
not make him look good at all. At
Yeah,
all.
yeah, it was tacky as hell,
Yeah.
and then the kid, like, I mean, he got a
Oh, he
thousand.
handled
He
it.
well, he did very
He
well, and he
handled it.
got thousands of dollars in donations to his school because everybody felt bad that this prominent 50-year-old black man, almost 3 times his age, like 2.5 times his
Did
age.
more than anybody. Did we send him any money?
Oh, we're gonna write him a check. That's
Okay,
gonna
we
happen.
got
That's
to.
gonna happen. Yeah, I talked to the brother the other day. I really like that kid a lot. I'm so impressed with him because he has wisdom beyond his years.
Okay.
His name is King Randall. And I did a video about that whole thing with Roland. You can go check it out on drboycetv.com. But yeah, yeah. So Roland
Mm.
Martin wasn't trying to listen to that young brother. Yeah, he wasn't. It was real
It
weird.
was.
It was like, what is
But
your
you know
purpose
what? Now
now?
we're seeing, I think, like the beauty. Let me tell you what the beauty of the times we're living in right now, boys.
What are the
The
times we're living in
times
now?
we're living in now, it's almost like things that are hiding are coming out to light. You
Mm,
know, it's just like what you think you get away with, you don't get away with. You think you're getting away with things, it's going to come out. You think you can get away with what Roland Martin was doing and he didn't get away with it. It's going to backfire on you. You think you get
mm,
away with cheating and carrying on in your marriage like Derrick Jaxn, it's going to come out. You know, you think you can have dysfunction and all sorts of things in your relationship and your family. Now's the time to get this stuff right. For some reason, things are coming out. Things that are
mm,
hiding are coming out to light and I think it's beautiful. Let it all out.
mm. Well,
Mm-hmm.
well,
And deal with it.
I'll tell you what. I think it is going to be a very interesting
Stop hiding
time.
from who you are.
Well,
And stop hiding from what you
well,
want and
it,
what you want to get. You know, go for it.
well, I definitely agree with that. I mean, I've
And
always.
stop living a lie. There's so many people who are just like afraid. They're so fearful. Now here I am going on a rant. But but there are people who are just so afraid and they're so fearful and they don't want to do something. They don't want to take that chance. They don't want to make that move. They don't want to leave that man who ain't doing nothing for. You know what I mean? They don't want to leave that job or leave that situation. Now is the time where you are being really pushed to make you're at a crossroads. You're being pushed to make decisions.
Well,
It's great.
what I say is, my belief is that if I ask you to show me who you are,
Yeah.
I also put the burden on myself to accept you for who you are.
Yeah, you
You
got to
know,
see it.
yeah, and I think that's. I mean, whether you're talking about,
Hmm.
people in sexuality or blackness or whatever it is, people are doing. Um, I think a lot of people don't feel comfortable being who they are because if people will say, "Show me who you are," and then you show them, and then they attack. And it's
Yeah,
like,
but you
well,
know what? Now's the time where it's just like, you know what? And I know that's how I feel. It's just like I'm going to always be myself. I'm always going to speak my truth and let the chips fall where they may. I am willing to let the chips fall wherever it may. As long as I speak my truth whenever I open my mouth. You know, I can lose some, I can win some, but as far as I'm concerned, I never lose. Sometimes when I lose, I actually win. And so
mm,
I'm committed to speaking my truth. Every word that comes out of my mouth is going to be so close to how I personally feel that it's at the point where I can't lie. Even if I wanted to lie, I'm not able to do that anymore. And
mm.
it's courageous to do, but I always speak my truth.
And I do too.
Almost to a fault.
Well, no, I mean, I've always,
Yeah.
I've always believed in speaking my truth. But
Yeah.
one of the things I challenge myself to as a scholar is to try to hear other people's truths and to know that
Yeah. Oh
I
yeah.
don't have a monopoly on the truth.
Yeah. It
Right.
takes one to know one. That's why I said speak my truth.
Right.
You speak your truth, and when I look at you, and I'm not talking about you, but I'm like people. When I look at people, you know what I mean? I can pull the truth out of them because I'm living in my truth.
Right. Okay.
You know what I mean? I can get and I can see when someone is not doing that.
Yeah, I hear that.
I can cut through it.
Okay. All right. So back to Derrick Jaxn. All right.
Derrick
So
Jaxn. So
I'm
he
gonna.
needs to do the same. Derrick Jaxn needs to do the same. Don't talk about yourself in the third person. That's not healthy, man. That's something ain't right.
Well,
Somebody, I mean, that's saying that you're not speaking your truth
well,
to me.
like I
You
said, I
know,
mean, if you're in your late 20s and early 30s and you're making that much money and getting that much attention, like people have to be careful about fame and fortune and all that. Like that can really, it really can it can put the blinders on you, And I think that, like I know what I'm dealing with now, and I can deal with it now because I'm in my 40s. If I was 29,
hmm
I can see myself, being overwhelmed by it or making a mistake from it or not, and I think that's the part that needs to be kind of considered is, he's not a 50-year-old man. He's 31, right? I think the question at that point is what do you do with that? But I would definitely, if I was talking to him, I would say, stop with the mating calls. Like, stop. I know the women think you're sexy and all that. They're gonna think that no matter what, but to some extent. But when you're really out here, really trying to be as sexy as possible, that's gonna end up putting you in situations that are going to be embarrassing for you. Like I said, my man Ice Cube. I heard from Ice Cube today, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
I like. I
You gotta
just
tell me
I
about
think
it.
he's a cool dude. He's a great guy. Yeah,
Yeah.
he had that great song, "Ass Over Cash."
That's right. That's
I
your theme song. Go ahead,
I
Boyce.
heard that song.
Tell us about it.
I heard that song when I was 28 years old, and that's what I said. Okay, he thinks like me, because what you learn is that when you're really trying to lead something and be a boss or a king or whatever, like you have to have sexual discipline. You cannot, you let you get in the bed with these jump offs. One of them gonna tell your story.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to be real careful. You got to be real careful, and I really think that for him, that's what I would have told him is like, look, man, that girl is poison. Never trust a big butt and a smile.
Well, there we
They
go.
have you on. They have you on the internet apologizing.
With receipts and everything. Good grief.
Yeah,
That was
yeah,
major.
yeah. And then you got crazy bitter women like Tasha K, who's like, I told that motherfucker. I knew I was gonna get that motherfucker. I knew I was gonna get that. I got your ass. I hit that. That is so unappealing to me. Like it's not even. It's just. It sounded personal. It was like my goal was to burn him down, and I hate that. It just really it bothers me. So I'm not cheering for none of that shit.
Wait, someone said Dr. Alicia is right. Let's put that up
My
there.
autistic son speaks in third person. He gets speech therapy,
hmm
and a check. Derrick Jaxn might be undiagnosed autistic.
Well, I don't. Well, that's a different. Okay, so there's some caveats with speaking in third yourself in the third person. There's some caveats to that. So
Mm.
I just saw Dr. Alicia was right, and I wanted to put that up on the screen. How about that?
Well, you know what? I think that's good. There we go.
I like that. Start the sentence with Dr. Alicia was right.
Oh Lord, I'm hanging up. All right, everybody. Well, please have a good night. I don't think he needed trust from the big butt doctor. That's so funny. Well, I don't know. I just think, I think there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the world that people don't talk about, and I don't, you know, I'm sure half the people that are listening to this chat right now that did some shit they wouldn't tell nobody about. So, I don't know. I think we can challenge
Yeah. So.
everything and speak truth without being
hmm
nasty about it. But
Yeah, I saw some people say that speaking in third person is a sign of narcissism. Yeah, it is. I have heard that. It is a
mm,
sign of narcissism. Yeah. Anyway.
Well, Boyce Watkins has to
Oh,
has to
please
go to
don't do
bed.
that. Do not do that.
Well, I talked to Boyce just now, and Boyce told me that
Oh,
he's very,
stop.
very sleepy. So, so I'm going to, so me and Boyce Watkins are going to go. So y'all have a good night, and y'all take care. Subscribe to go to the blacklovechannel.com. We have a YouTube channel where we actually do relationship conversations. So if you're into that kind of thing, there's the URL. If you will subscribe, we would appreciate that very much. So have a good night. Hit the thumbs up on the video and all that good stuff if you could. We'll talk to you later. Peace.